So you know what we do every night at this time, 8 o'clock here in North Texas, and that is we talk about the topical news of the day. My name is Jeff. It's Westside Jeff in for Chris Crock here on News Talk, 820 WBAP, and now on FM 93.3. Two stories that lead my topic tonight. And that is, and we'll juggle those a little bit. One of them is Nikki Haley press conference today, and she announced today she's in it for the long haul. She's running for president of the United States. She wants to run in the primary. The South Carolina primary is this Saturday, and she says that she will be in the race on Sunday. In essence, she said, let me read between the lines. I'm not going to win Saturday unless something miraculous happens, but I'm still going to be in it Sunday. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes, but I want to lead with a story that I talked about last night, and the weird gets even weirder. And it starts with a story from yesterday morning at 8:50 a.m. Law enforcement was called to a school, Pioneer Technology and Arts Academy campus. That's on the east side of Dallas, just inside the Outer Belt. And the story was that they were called to campus, and it was a 3200 block of Oates Drive near San Marcos Avenue, after a student was reported to be in the school's office with a firearm. So police were called to a school because a student in the school had a firearm. They call it a firearm, a gun. I don't know if it's long gun, short gun. I'm assuming short gun. And when you hear reports today, this is 2024. And when you hear, when there's a story going on across this country about a kid, a shooting, a student with a gun, police get called and shots are fired in a school, that is a massive story. It blows up. It becomes a national news story. It becomes a focal point of the left that talks about how bad guns are. Guns are horrible. It becomes a focal point of the right by saying mental health. We need, there were warning signs. We've heard story after story about shootings in and around schools. But for whatever reason, this story, we still don't know the details. So I've been watching this story the rest of the day today. I've been following the news across the TV stations. I've been following the story through the Dallas Morning News. I've been talking to our newsroom about it. And moments ago, Eric Bushman in our newsroom filed a report about the Mesquite shooting and talked about it. And his story was talking about how administrators said they're going to amp up security and they're going to change the way they do things to protect the school a little more. But what I find interesting about this story is we are 36 hours or so later, and we don't know a whole lot about it. There still haven't been a press conference detailing the events of the day. To me, that is really odd that a police department and a school have not done a press conference to answer multiple questions about what the hell happened. We deserve that opportunity to know that. Parents deserve to know what happened. And we need to learn lessons from that. So it caught my eye just a couple hours ago as I saw a report pop up, breaking news alert. I got a notification from the Dallas Morning News, and it was reporter Jamie Landers filed a report, and the report kind of goes like this. She says that Jamie says 3 officers fired, and I got to ask you the question, how many shots do you think were fired yesterday in the Mesquite school shooting that we talked about last night? What would you guess? 3 officers were called. Student had a gun. The administration got the student calmed down and cleared their offices, getting ready for police to come in. The police came in. The police walked in. And as a story as we find across press reports yesterday, they tried talking the student into putting the gun down and de-escalating the situation. The student ended up complying with them after they fired shots. And as of 24 hours ago, we didn't know how many shots were fired, who got hit, who was injured. We just knew the student had been taken to the hospital, and we didn't know exactly why. So how many shots do you think were fired? And does that matter? If you want to weigh in on this topic, my phone number is 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. I'm also across social media at Westside Jeff. The answer to my question is this. Jamie Lander says 3 officers fired 19 shots. 19 shots were fired yesterday at the student who reportedly refused to drop a gun that he had brought into the Mesquite school. Now, that's according to authorities who told the Dallas Morning News that. At 8:50 a.m. yesterday morning, officers were dispatched to the Pioneer Technology in the Arts Academy campus after a student was reported to be in the school's office with a firearm. Again, 19 shots were fired by 3 different officers. The student was alone in the office when the officers arrived. That's according to the police reports. And while trying to negotiate with the student to get him to put the gun down, police said 3 officers fired a total of 19 rounds. The department confirmed the student did not fire his weapon. Now, I got to ask the question, why is it cops shoot 19 times at somebody that doesn't fire back at them? I think that information needs to be released. I have a real problem with it. I think it almost reeks of a cover-up, if you ask me, that we don't know any of the details. The students, according to Jamie, the student's leg was wounded, but police said it was unclear if he was shot or if he was struck by shrapnel. Now, we're 36 hours later, and we don't know the answer to that? Really? And it's not public? I get protecting the student because he's underage. I understand that. I understand not putting the names of the officers out there and all. But do we not know the details of 19 shots fired and who hit what? And was the kid hit? The police said that it was unclear if the student was shot or struck by shrapnel. The story goes on saying no other injuries were reported, and according to police, all 19 shots were confined to the office located at the end of the hall with no rooms behind it. That's always good to know. Quote unquote, we are grateful that this incident resulted in no injuries to other students, faculty members, or any other officers, the department wrote in a statement. Now, the student was taken to a hospital and deemed stable, police said. The student was released Monday evening last night and booked into Dallas County Juvenile Detention Facility. Due to his age, the student's name was not released. The names of the officers who fired were also not released, but police said they include an 8-year veteran, a 5-year veteran, and an officer in training with multiple years of service from another agency. Investigations into the incident will be conducted by the Mesquite Police Department's Criminal Investigations Unit and Internal Affairs Unit, in addition to an independent investigation by the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. I smell skunk. Something doesn't sound right to me. They're not giving us visibility the rest of the story. We're 36 hours post a shooting in a school, and we don't know any details other than 19 shots fired at the student. The student never fired back. We don't know what provoked it. We don't know the rest of the story of that. The student was injured, taken to the hospital. We don't know, at least publicly, if the student was shot or hit by shrapnel. The student was released Monday night, so less than 12 hours after the shooting, which tells you it wasn't that significant of injuries, probably. I say we got to... That's why people don't trust law enforcement. I'm not one of them. I do. I believe in them. I just want visibility. That's why there's lack of belief in the media and the police and government and entities. It just feels like they're holding back on something. That's my opinion. I want to hear yours at 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. My name is Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. And for Chris Crock on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. The name is Jeff. It's Westside Jeff, but you and I are on first name basis, so just call me Jeff. Sitting in for Chris Crock. Chris is off this week on vacation. I get a chance to sit here and give you common sense opinion on current events. I'm just a regular guy, born and raised up in Columbus, Ohio, now down here in North Texas, and get a chance to sit behind the microphone here in the studio and fill in for Chris when he's out and other hosts. And my story is just simple. I'm just a regular guy that follows, like a lot of you. You watch the news, you listen. We listen to the news, we pay attention to it. I'm one of those. Yes, I go to CNN. Yes, I go to MSNBC. I go to ABC, CBS, NBC. I certainly go to Fox. I certainly Wall Street Journal, USA Today, multiple papers. I try to read stories and consume a lot of stories and formulate an opinion. And one of the things I do is as I go through the news stories, as I follow stories, I find that I analyze it a lot like, God meant us to do, and that is to analyze stories and make our own opinions. And again, I'm lucky enough to sit here and give you my opinion. And that's all it is. It's my opinion. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But I love to hear your feedback on my opinion and my read on things. You can jump in the show by hitting me up across social media at Westside Jeff on Facebook, on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Instagram. And you can dial it up at 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. I'm talking about the story that sticks out to me yesterday about police officers called to Mesquite school in Mesquite. And they walk in, and there's a student. We don't know the age. We don't know the name, and that's okay because the student's probably underage. But the student has a gun in the school, and they're in the student in the administration office. The administration office cleared it out and tried to keep it de-escalated and calm until the police got there. The police come in. The police ask him to drop the gun. We don't know how that interaction went and how that transpired, and we find out just 2 hours ago as the story breaks, and I see it on the Dallas Morning News, follow-up story on it, that 3 police officers ended up firing 19 shots at the student who reportedly refused to drop the gun that he brought into the school. 19 shots fired. The student did not shoot at police. The student was injured and taken to the hospital and deemed stable, police said. He was released last night, Monday evening, and booked into Dallas County juvenile detention facility. Due to his age, they're not releasing all the name and all of the student. But the interesting part of the story, a couple things, is that the student, the student's leg was wounded, but police have said it was unclear if he was shot or struck by shrapnel. Now, I gotta state the obvious, and it's to me it's an obvious. When you have 3 officers go into a administration office, they fire 19 shots, and if these guys didn't hit anybody, I mean, if they're shooting at a student that they think is deadly and about ready to put deadly force on them, and they shoot 19 shots and didn't hit him, these guys better go back to the range. But my question is this: why is it we don't know the details of that? There's a lot about the story that just doesn't make sense to me, and I think we need visibility. I think that's why people don't trust law enforcement. People don't trust the media. People don't trust authorities. They don't trust educational systems. The trust across our country is not there. And it's stories like this that pronounce that reinforce that. 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. Sandra from Fort Worth, you're on with the Chris Crock Show with Westside Jeff on News Talk 820 WBAP and now FM 93.3.
I'm just not ready to jump on the cops because the kid with the gun is a minor, and they always are protected, and they withhold information because they are minors. And so I think that's where the problem lies, and I think we're too eager to jump on the cops today, and maybe the kid threatened him verbally. I don't know, but something went down, and we will end up knowing, but the kid is protected because he's a minor. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. But I don't want to hear bad things about the cops or possibly bad things about the cops because we just don't know. I don't like speculation about it. They have a hard job to do. And what I do know is that no other students were injured in that deal, and they sure could have been. So I applaud them for doing whatever they did.
Sandra, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm on your side, honey. I'm with you.
Oh.
I'm very, very pro law enforcement, but we don't know enough to say that the cops did the right thing or the wrong thing. We don't know.
Why say? I just don't want to put anything out of thoughts that they might have done something wrong. Why talk about it until we know some more about it? I'm talking about it because we don't know a lot about it. I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming the authorities of the police department and the PIO, public information officer, in the school system for not holding a press conference and giving us the details of the rest of the story. If this were any other shooting anywhere across the country, there would be all kinds of stories about this. Yeah, the kid is a minor.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, that says it all. I don't like it, but the kid is a minor. He's probably already lawyered up.
I hear you. I understand you. Again, I don't have a problem with not releasing the name of the minor. I want to know the kid came into the school, the age of the kid, what was his motive for bringing a gun to school. They know that, and what
they're not going to give it. He's a minor. They're not going to give it. He's a minor.
But don't you think the motive is important? We talk about motive everything else in life.
I do, but they're not going to give it because minors are a protected class of people. They're protected. He's lawyered up already. Believe me.
Sandra, I respectfully disagree with you on that. I understand the minor. I don't want the name. I just think we need to know this is a student that had problems at home or whatever it is, brought a gun to school, and what was the purpose of it, the police confronted it, and how that went down. That's all I'm asking for.
I just don't think they're going to do it because he's a minor.
And I think the lack of visibility of that just continues to reinforce across our country about the disbelief and distrust in law enforcement, government leaders, authorities, school administrators. It just reeks of a cover-up, if you ask me.
I just don't want to speculate. I don't want to think anything until I know something. I like the cops and I respect what they do, and it kept whatever happened kept other kids from being hurt or killed, and that's a big deal to me.
Sandra from Fort Worth, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you being part of the show, and it's okay to disagree on things, and I appreciate you being there. And thank you for calling. Thanks for listening. Coming up next in the bottom of the hour, got a news report and update from Lori Waffenschmidt in the newsroom about the death of the girl down on the border that was found today. She's got new news on that, and it's coming up in about 3 minutes. On the other side, we'll continue this conversation as well as talk about Nikki Haley. My name is Jeff. It's Westside Jeff in for Chris Kroc here on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. This is Sublime, and I'm Jeff. Westside Jeff in for Chris Kroc here on News Talk 820 WBAP. I get a chance. I'm very fortunate to sit here and give you a common sense opinion on current events. And the current events I'm talking about, two things I'm juggling. We'll get to Nikki Haley in about 2 minutes. I got a take on that, an opinion on why she's doing what she's doing and how it's going to impact things moving forward. I'll tell you what that looks like in 2 minutes. But first, to put a cherry on the top and wrap this up, Mesquite shooting yesterday. I'm still stunned. There was 19 shots fired in a school by Mesquite police officers towards a student who brought a gun to school. The student was injured. We don't know if the student was shot or hit by shrapnel. The student was taken to the hospital and released last night, and now in juvie detention here in the county. And we just don't know any details. And what I want to know is this. What was the motivation for this kid to bring a gun to school? Was this show and tell, or did this kid come with the intention of shooting up the school? There's a big difference. What were the conditions of the police officers coming in? 3 police officers. What transpired? Police officers, I'm a big fan of police officers. My nephew is a chief of police. I love cops. I support them. When I was a little boy, I wanted to be one. But when I saw what was going on in the world of law enforcement, I said, no, thanks. I don't mind getting shot at and getting in fights and that stuff if I have to, but I just didn't like the idea of being the enemy, in essence, of human nature, because that's what we've done. Unfortunately, in this environment we live in today, our rights tell us that you and I are innocent until proven guilty. That's what our courts say in the law of the land, that you and I in the court of law are innocent until proven guilty by a jury of our peers, unless you're a cop. Because they now in this land, unfortunately, the media and a lot of people in the country feel the exact opposite. If you're a cop, you're guilty until proven innocent by a jury of his peers. And that's even if I believe them. And I think that's all wrong. We got it all wrong. But I want to know what happened that the police, the situation escalated to the point where the police had to pull the trigger 19 times and shoot their weapons, discharge their weapons as they call it. And how do you shoot 19 times and not hit something, not hit someone? God forbid them 19 times hitting a student. Thank God the student wasn't, fatal. But what the hell happened? And the longer we go without all this information coming out, I understand what Sandra said, that the student is a juvenile. I get it. I'm not asking for the name of the student and personal details tied back to it being juvenile. But I think we as citizens of this community deserve the truth and deserve to know what happened and the visibility of what happened, so that we can learn from it and try to hopefully never have that happen again. And something's up with this case for it to be as quiet as it is and covered up like it is. There's a reason why people across our country today don't have the trust in law enforcement, the trust in the social systems, the trust in government, the trust in leadership, and the trust in administrations within school systems. And it's because of events like this that 36 hours later, we don't know a whole lot about it. I'll continue to watch this story. I just think there's more to the story. It's one of those things that I think there's something that's going to come out. I hope that's not the case, but some uncomfortable things that maybe they're delaying it to protect that. It reeks of a cover-up. I'm not calling it a cover-up. It just reeks of a cover-up. That's my opinion. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. You want to hit me up across social media? Do it. At Westside Jeff across social media, or 800-288-9227 here at the radio station, 800-288-WBAP. Let's talk about Nikki Haley. So Nikki Haley held a press conference today, and I watched the press conference, and she's an impressive speaker, no doubt about it. And under normal conditions, maybe she's a pretty good candidate. But in the conditions that we're in now, where Trump is dominating everything Trump is doing, Trump is a victim and she is a martyr, and she's not coming off very well. So the question you got to ask is, what is she doing and why is she doing it? Well, here's what this comes down to. Nikki, it costs a lot of money, a lot of money to run for president. Money that you and I don't have. And I'm not talking thousands of dollars. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not multiple millions of dollars to run. She would not be in this race if she were not financed. So somebody somewhere is financing her. And yes, those on the hardcore right say, she's being financed from the Democrats. Well, you look up the campaign finance reports and you can see some of that because it's very visible. I don't think, it wouldn't surprise me if I haven't looked all the details of that, but it wouldn't surprise me if some of the money comes from people who normally support Democrats. But I contend the bigger story here for Nikki Haley is why she's doing it is some of the media say she's playing a long game. Here's my thought on that. Call it long game, call it what you want. I think she's in it with the thought that at some point she's continuing her role because she at some point in time thinks that Trump could implode. And if Trump implodes, she wants to be right there in the mix of things. She doesn't want to be DeSantis, who said, I'm bowing out. She don't want to be Tim Scott that says, I'm bowing out. She want to be Chris Christie that says, I'm bowing out. She wanted to stay in it through the end. That doesn't guarantee her that she'll win the nomination or get the nomination if Trump goes down. That's what I think she's betting on. She's betting on the fact that sometime between now, listen, there's a lot of time left on this clock. Election day is November 5th. That's 8 months and about 2 weeks or so away. There's a lot of time on this clock. And let me tell you what's going to happen between now and Election day. There will be a couple things happen. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they look at like. I could speculate on a bunch of things, but there'll be things that you and I will walk in our office the next day and go, wow, who would have thought that? There will be some absolute significant news events over the next 8 months that will just shake us to a core that goes, wow, God, I can't believe that happened. Can you believe that? You can't see it right now. I can't see it right now. You and I can't predict it right now. It's coming. We don't know what it is. It could very well be Trump imploding. It could very well be Trump, some more indictments that actually stick that turn the electorate. It could be, I don't want to speculate on too much, but there'll just be some things that are going to happen that's going to shake up this race. And I don't know what they are. I don't want to speculate on them. Some of them I don't even want to say verbally because I just don't like the thoughts, but I just think everything is on the table and a lot of things could happen. Nikki Haley is playing the long game, and it's all about chasing money and follow the money, and she's in it because she's being well funded. And I just think there are a lot of folks that don't want Trump as the nominee for the Republican Party, and she hears it, she knows it, and she's staying there as an alternative. That's what Nikki Haley's about. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but the reality is it's a game of politics. That's what it is. Put your hard hat on, strap that helmet a little tight, because it's going to be raucous between now and the next 8 months. Nikki Haley's in it for the long run. My name is Jeff. It's Westside Jeff on the other side. This will continue. Just a little while ago, I saw Trump was on in a town hall meeting with Laura Ingraham, and he had something interesting to say. I'll tell you what it was about Nikki Haley coming up in about 4 minutes. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff, and for Chris Crocker, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now FM at 93.3. You know, one of the things I really like about this radio station, and I'll share it with you because I think it's something that you can benefit from, and that is the radio station has an app that you can download in the App Store. And what I like about that app is, in fact, today was one of those days. I was very busy in my day job, out and about, driving around the city and doing my day job in a sales capacity. And I've got the app, and I've got it set up for notifications. So as news broke out through the day today, including the authorities finding that 11-year-old child that never made it to school, who was supposed to get on the school bus early, a week ago, they found her unfortunately dead. The news broke in. I saw it on my app on my phone, so I had immediate notification as soon as the news hit. Our newsroom here at WBAP, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. I got the notification immediately. So I feel like I'm in touch all the time with what's going on in the news, because when something happens that is important for me to know, I get it in real time because of our app. So if you don't have the app, you can go to your app store. And I'd encourage you to go to the app store, search News Talk 820 WBAP radio, and you'll see the app. You can download it. And the other benefit about that, and above and beyond the notifications, is you can use that as your radio. So I listen to this radio station through my app. So I've got it set up instead of just listening all the time to the radio. Is when I get in the car, many times I'll plug in my phone to keep it charging and then play the radio station through my car audio. So the app is wonderful. If you don't have it, check it out. It's News Talk 820 WBAP. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. I'm sitting in for Chris Kroc. One of the other neat things about that, by the way, is on the app, you can hit all the podcasts. So if you miss something on the station, for example, if you wanted to hear what I talked about last night with this Mesquite shooting in the school, you can go to the app and click on Chris Kroc podcasts, and you'll see Westside Jeff on Mesquite shooting, and boom, play it and hear that back. You'll also be able to hear this back, or Hal J, or Casey Bartholomew, any of our other talk hosts. You can catch their podcasts also across the app as well as the website. So it's really cool. It's on demand as you want it, when you want it, where you want it. Download the app. You can check that out. Earlier tonight, we're talking about Nikki Haley. We're talking about the Mesquite shooting. Earlier tonight, just last 2 hours, Donald Trump did a town hall meeting with Laura Ingraham on Fox News. And I caught a few minutes of it as I was show prepping for tonight. And what stuck out to me, and I didn't write this all down, so it's on top of my head. Apologize for not having the exact wording. But Laura went to listeners, viewers in the audience, and allowed them to ask questions. And one lady asked the question, and in essence, her question was of Trump, please tell me that as president, when you're elected president of the United States, that you're going to move forward, that you're going to lead forward and address the problems and not relitigate the 2020 election and play victim and martyr and poor me, woe is me, across social media. In essence, she was saying, enough with that noise, let's move forward. Tell me that you'll do that. And Trump went on, and well, I call it the Charlie Brown moment. Wah, 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 wah. He never answered the question. He just went off topic and made it sound like he was kind of answering it, but he wasn't. About a minute into it or so, Laura Ingraham reeled her in and said, Mr. President, you're not answering her question. What she's asking, and she said, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, as she looked at the lady and said, what I think you're asking is what a lot of Republican voters across this country feel throughout this country. They love you. They love your zest and zeal for making America great, and they love your policies. But they don't like the chaos. They don't like the noise that comes with it. They don't like the woe is me and the relitigating the 2020 election and the victimization. Can you tell her and other voters who are watching tonight that you won't do that? And again, he really didn't answer the question. He talked about policy and making America great and blah, 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 blah. And that's one of my issues with Trump. You know what? At some point in time, you've got to say the past is the past. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. The man has phenomenal policies. His policies are great. They're spot on, and it's what our country needs. I don't like all the chaos. I don't like all the noise. The man can't help himself sometimes, but I love the policies, and we need another President Trump. I'm just not I'm one of those people that I don't believe that our country's problems can be solved by one person or one man or one woman or one political person. I like to think that our country's problems can be solved by you. You're the solution. You are the solution to what's going on in our country. And I mean that. You are the solution. And the solution is for you to stand up and voice your opinion, not only here across talk radio, but in our community and in your day job, and to adhere to the things that we believe in about making our country great. You are the solution. Trump's not the solution. Biden's not the solution. Nikki Haley's not the solution. You are the solution. So stand up and do it. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. On the other side of this, I'm going to ask a question about how much of a pay cut would you potentially take in order to have work-life balance? It's amazing what people have said. We'll talk about that next. My name's Jeff, Westside Jeff, in for Chris Crock on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.